back here in Boulder. It's West Virginia week after a couple really rough weeks for this football program. Coach Prime had his press conference today. It's going to be the only media availability. I guess we'll start there. That we're not going to be able to talk to any players or coaches this week outside of Coach Prime. His reasoning is that he's got this fatherly instinct and he kind of wants to shield his team right now. It's going to draw criticism just because that's natural. It's 2025. It's a little bit difficult for us from a coverage standpoint, but there is also the human part of me that understands why he's doing that. And, frankly, I don't know what these players or assistant coaches could say right now anyway.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, I see it, yes. I mean, if you're going to put players there, it would have been cool to hear from Juju to talk about getting his first start or something like that, or, hear from some of the players about maybe Juju starting. But, yeah, I get it. It is the first time it's happened in all the years we've been covering CU. I don't ever remember a time we didn't have any players available for the week, but it is what it is, and we'll see if it works out. I mean, he said that that's what he wants to do until he feels comfortable with these guys, being able to handle that. And I think honestly, that answer is it says a lot about this team, right? Because the previous 2 years he's had guys that could handle any situation to talk about, and I don't remember if you and I talked about it before or not, but that's kind of, to me, that he's saying a lot about this team. And look, he talked about mental health a couple times during his post game the other day, where there was also no players. And so I just think that right now his message is that this is not a mentally strong team, and he wants to kind of shield that. Let's keep it inside. Maybe the best thing for this team is just focus on us and let's go forward.
You mentioned Julian Lewis. He confirmed that he's going to be starting out of West Virginia, so we're going to have a freshman versus freshman matchup there in Morgantown. Obviously not surprising, but it was good to hear because of the fact that Julian Lewis came off the field late. It seemed like some discomfort in his hand, but Coach Prime says that he's straight, that he's throwing the heck out of the ball this week. Didn't want to go into the bad part of what he showed on Saturday, but said the good parts. One of them was he got the ball out quickly, and that was the main thing that stood out to me on Saturday night. Yeah. And it was a better performance in that sense than we saw in that brief snippet at Delaware or in the spring game, as we talked about on Saturday night.
Yeah, and the other thing I liked about it was that he's not known as a runner, but he had a really nice scramble run for a first down in that game, and showed that he may not be that dual threat, but he's a guy that can hurt you with his legs every now and then. So I think it was pretty obvious to us that it had to be Julian after Saturday, right? The only question was, is that hand okay? And so I think that's the best news out of it, is that his hand is okay. He's good to go. So I'm excited for it. Buff fans are excited for it. When you're sitting there at 3-6, you got to do something to try to energize the team. And it clearly has not worked with Caden Salter, and it's time to look to the future. Salter's a fifth-year senior. It's an unfortunate way for if that's the end of his career, for him to end that career. But, it didn't work out here.
And there's the whole redshirt debate with Julian Lewis. At this point, following the last 2 weeks, just get out there to West Virginia, play that football game, see how it goes. And you would like the problem of being 5-6 going out to Manhattan and having to make that difficult decision at that point.
Yeah, if they somehow win these next two games and go out to Manhattan with a chance to go to a bowl game, I think that'll be miraculous in itself, just the way they're playing right now. But if that's what spurs this, and you win the next two, start him. And then I guess leave it up to him. But and I know it's not a rule yet. I'm of the belief they're going to change this rule. It's going to be 5 for 5 at some point. It's not going to matter. It sounds like the only holdup is it may not happen for this year's seniors, but it's going to happen at some point while Julian's in college, in my opinion. And so I don't think it's ultimately going to matter. You do have to keep it in mind right now, I guess. But, if your problem is, whether to start Julian week 12 or not with a chance to go to a bowl game, that's a good problem.
Yeah, the only thing that would make me think that this 5 for 5 isn't going to happen is that it just makes too much sense. What are we doing? And it's like ever since the 4-game rule came in, and then they threw the bowl game in, then it's like, okay, can we just do away with the redshirt thing? Because then you got certain guys that just quit on the team because they want to preserve their redshirt midseason. It's been kind of a mess ever since they tried to change that model.
Yeah, the other hope though is it makes too much sense, which means the NCAA probably won't do it. But then somebody will probably sue them and they'll cave in anyway. So that's just kind of the way the NCAA has operated with everything recently. So that's why I think it's going to happen. So I'm not too worried about Julian's red shirt. I think for Buff fans, it's a season that's quickly gone south, and it's something to give them get them excited and give them some hope going forward.
Another interesting comment that Coach Prime made today, he was asked again about changes and making changes week to week. Yeah. If you're reading between the lines, they've made pretty substantial changes and they just won't announce it, is kind of how I took that.
Yeah, or subtle changes and they won't announce. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know what changes they're making. I don't think they've changed play callers, but who knows? I guess unless you ask directly, and I was trying to get the mic back to ask that directly, but I didn't. They cut off the press conference. But we don't know. I don't know what changes, but it's I understand fans' frustration though, because you're seeing all around college football, right? Even Syracuse the other day was like they announced a bunch of changes, and fans want to see that because that's an outward expression of accountability, and we're making some things to try to make this work, but. Whatever he's doing internally, let's hope the buttons are being pressed.
Yeah, it's one of those things that fans are not patient. Even Coach Prime admitted 2 weeks ago that I'm not patient either. Right. So it makes sense, and it can take away the sting of a really tough loss when you're like, okay, you can kind of point to. So I guess this week, not knowing exactly what those changes are, it's looking to Julian Lewis and hoping that he has a great performance.
Yeah, and look, he may have changed play callers. I don't know. I mean, what I do know is this is his 6th year as a college football head coach. He's changed his offensive coordinator, I think, 3 previous seasons in the middle of the season, or 3 or 4, including his first year here. So it would not be unprecedented for him to switch a play caller. And none of those guys were fired. He doesn't fire the guys. He just makes the switch. And so, in fact, he's got 4 guys on staff that have been his play caller at some point on offense that have never left him. And so who knows? It could be any one of those guys that's calling plays right now. It could be Bartolone, Phillips. I mean, Michael Pollock was his OC at one point. So
special teams coordinator / offensive coordinator.
Yeah, might as well. Who knows?
Well, I the bottom line is though that you can't change an offense with 3 games left or 4 games left, even if you did that during the bye week, really. Right. So it's kind of on some level, it's almost kind of a moot point.
Yes, because even look. When we talked to Pat Shermer about that 2023 season, he takes over with 4 games left, and even he was telling us, he goes, "Look, I'm calling my Sean Lewis's offense, right? It wasn't him all of a sudden changing the offense with 4 games left, and so whatever it is, it would be calling the same offense. It's just trying to figure out which play calls work, and I am curious to see what a Shermer and Lewis pairing looks like as opposed to what we've seen.
Well, this keeps us on our toes. This is on some levels the most transparent college football program in the country. In some other levels, one of the least transparent college football programs in the country. Yeah. So you navigate it as best you can. Coach Prime did say that, hey, we're open to criticism, even the players, especially in this NIL era. It's when it gets personal that he has an issue. And I think we've seen that with him. We've had to be critical during that 4-8 season, and even after the bowl game last year, and many times this year. And it doesn't seem like that offends him as long as you're talking football, like he said.
Yeah, and I like that he says that. That look, everything's fair. If we're not playing well, it's fair for you to criticize. Just don't make it personal, because I hear from a lot of fans. I mean, you get critical, and all of a sudden you're a hater, and all this stuff. Nobody's a hater. It's just it's okay to be critical when you lose 52-17 and 53-7. Things are clearly not going well, and there's things to be critical about. And so I'm glad to hear him say that, because I've never gotten personal with it. I don't think there's any need to get personal with it. I know some people do, but that's where it crosses the line for me too. I mean, it's fair to criticize when the passes aren't being made, and there's missed tackles, and you're losing 104 or 105 to 24 in 2 weeks. That's fair.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, we'll get into West Virginia in their freshman quarterback, and waiting on that Wednesday night participation report, which is always kind of worrisome around here.
Yeah, that's another. Wednesday night that's the time. Okay, let's brace for talking fans off the ledge here, because however long this list is going to be. they need some defensive linemen back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one spot to me I look at and say, man, you need some guys back at that spot.
All right, we'll see who's back in the mix this week as Colorado gets prepared to travel out to Morgantown, West Virginia.